Students I spoke with were saddened and shocked about the shooting. It brought to light questions and concerns regarding university safety plans.
Lindenwood University students often see security with their trucks circling around campus. University student Sloan Marshall reflects on why he believes the campus is safe.
There's a lot less people. Security is always on campus. I just think that element of being smaller keeps things more manageable.
Campus security at Lindenwood University continue to keep the students safe by keeping up with their safety protocols.
Director of Public Safety and Security John Bowman explains what students can do to help.
We also encourage all faculty, staff, and students to be vigilant. Report anything that's out of the ordinary. If they hear something that may be, they think is suspicious or it could be threatening, we want to know about that so we can investigate.
But for newspaper The Legacy reporter Philip Scher, there's a fine line between being safe and being too precautious.
There's things you can do to feel safe, but then you don't want to take those measures too far because then you start to trap the students and they don't feel safe.
Bowman says the school has a plan during an active shooter emergency. A system called Rave Alerts send text and emails to students during an emergency.
We want you to try to get away if you can, which is the run part. If you can't get out of the building, we want you to hide, be very still, make sure your cell phone's on vibrate, secure the room that you're in. And the last part is fight. If your life is being threatened, we want you to defend yourself.
Bowman also says students have access to video on their security website called Run, Hide, Fight. You can find the video at lindenwood.edu/security. For LUTV News, I'm Elizabeth Duesenberg. The St. Charles Police Department gained a new chief. 5-year-old Sydney was granted the opportunity to be police chief for the day. The ceremony was the first of its kind. Every officer from all units showed up to help celebrate Sydney's special day.
Sydney is battling a rare form of kidney cancer and will soon begin a 4-month isolation period to prepare her for surgery. Luckily, a police officer was able to meet Sydney beforehand.
At a local traffic stop, Officer Sean Birdsong noticed a little girl was having a rough day. He gifted her with a backpack and a handwritten note, and from there, their friendship has blossomed.
Officer Birdsong kept in contact with Sydney and her relatives, and with the department's help, came up with the idea to make her chief. He explains what makes her so special.
Sydney is very inspirational to all of us in the first responder community. She's a very brave young lady, and we admire her very much.
Sydney's bravery and positive attitude are contagious. Her great-uncle, Matthew Manley, dedicates his time to help her do the things she loves.
Anytime we do something that makes her smile, it just makes me feel good too.
To help make her smile more, Cinderella was invited to the event. Sydney also got to visit the entire facility and check out cop cars and helicopters. Chief David Todd believed that this not only raised Sydney's spirits, but those of his officers as well.
So it's not her privilege, it is our privilege to have Sydney as our chief today. And I can't think of a better way to spend Boss's Day than sharing my office with Chief Sydney, and the rest of the department.
As Sydney heads to isolation, the department will be getting updates on her well-being. They hope to start celebrating more kids in the future. The meeting took place in Ferguson. A group made up of mostly retired police listened to what the public had to say.
Training Commission held the public forum. Police officers, psychiatrists, and the public voiced their opinions about police training. Mark Portrats is the Director of Public Safety for the Community College District. He discussed what his role in the meeting was.
We're simply the hosts of the meeting, but I'm sure that what they're looking to do is gather opinion, information, and get some suggestions and areas to explore on this issue of trying to enhance and improve police training.
The attendees varied from young and eager to learn to older and opinionated. Samuel Safa is an online college student at Liberty University. He was interested in making sure the police officers and the community stay as safe as possible.
I think this is a fantastic opportunity to really be involved and to see what's going on at the ground level.
Walking out of it, I kind of have mixed feelings right now because there was such a limited civilian response. And I went into this meeting thinking that it would be focused on civilian insight as to what we feel policing practices should be.
Chelsea Murda is the staff attorney at the Arch City Defenders, who has studied multiple reports on police training. She believes what happened in Ferguson last year is an example of poor police preparation.
They showed up in military grade, like literally military grade equipment, and that was in response to protests, which escalated the situation and gave us that, I guess, iconic moment in American history.
The committee says changes to law enforcement training requirements could happen soon. One key item discussed was the need for more psychiatric evaluations for law enforcement. For LUTV News, I'm Elizabeth Duesenberg. Coming up on LUTV News, one O'Fallon neighborhood received an unwelcome makeover. Find out the amount of damage caused by 3 juveniles and some spray paint. And homeowners in St. Charles have some cleaning up to do after a car crashes through their home. We'll take you to the scene up next. Plus, the St. Charles Police Department had a new chief for the day. Find out more about their special guest. Those stories plus sports, weather, and more ahead on LUTV News. Welcome to this edition of LUTV News. I'm Elizabeth Duesenberg. An investigation is underway after residents in an O'Fallon neighborhood found graffiti covering their subdivision. The vandals damaged homes, streets, and cars. Police told one resident that high school kids were suspected of painting the vulgar and offensive images. So far, no arrests have been made. Neighbors are still stunned after a car drove right into a St. Charles home. At about 1 a.m., a car was driving down Towers Road at high speed when he hit an embankment. The car flew right into the bedroom of the house. At the moment of the crash, 4 residents were in the home, 3 adults and 1 newborn baby. Thankfully, none of them were hurt. The family had just moved back into the home only months after a tornado destroyed their backyard. A former Chesterfield police officer has pleaded guilty to invasion of privacy. 34-year-old David Cerna was charged due to posting anonymous sex partners online. He was reportedly posing as a woman in Craigslist ads. Police say he lured as many as 60 men to his home in Wentzville. Authorities also say he was filming the encounters and posting the videos to his website. A sentencing hearing for Cerna is scheduled for January 25th. 2 men are in custody after a high-speed chase across multiple counties Monday afternoon. The chase began in O'Fallon after the armed robbery of an Advance America cash store. Police pursued the getaway vehicle down Highway 70 onto Highway 141. The vehicle then crashed into a field at Creve Coeur Airport. Police arrested one of the suspects. The other fled the scene and stole a bystander's truck. Police eventually apprehended the second suspect after crashing into a resident's home in Maryland Heights. A local St. Louis company is taking action to reduce its carbon footprint. Monsanto plans to go carbon neutral by 2021 and will be working with thousands of farmers. The company pledges to do this through breeding plant biotechnology and crop covering. To be carbon neutral, Monsanto has developed an incentives program. The business must reduce its net emission if it wants to go from using carbon to not using it at all. There's one day to give thanks and 2 days for deals. But another day is dedicated to giving back. Learn what you can do on Giving Tuesday after the break.